Hey working mom, welcome to Order Meets Style. I'm ZC Mann, professional organizer with Firefly Bridge Organizing. I'm here to provide you with simple tips and ideas to organize your home so that you can love the way your home looks and functions, and so you're proud to invite anyone over anytime without stressing out about clutter. Ready for a beautifully organized home that makes you smile every time you walk in? Well, let's make it happen. Welcome to Order Meets Style. I'm your host, ZC Mann. I found myself complaining to my husband this week about my office, how noisy it is, how hard it is to record anything in here. See, my office is also our pantry space, and you have to walk through my office/pantry to get to the laundry room and the garage. We have a second fridge in here and also a chest freezer, and both of these things are older. And so the fans on them are terribly noisy. So if I'm in here for a long amount of time and I'm not either on Zoom or on calls, if it's just me working, well, I have to put headphones on to block out the sound of the fridge and freezer humming. It's really loud. So my husband very sensibly suggested that I just move my office to another room, and we do have a room available that I could switch into. But then I thought about it for a minute, and I thought about this current room. I've made this room my own, and I like that I'm not isolated in a corner of the house. I can keep an eye on the dog. I know when the kids get home. It's also a relatively big room. I have space to move around. I have space to fold the laundry on my big table in here. And most importantly to me, I have a clear desktop. I have space for putting everything away each night so I can walk into a clear and calm desktop every morning, which is so important to me. So I thought about moving my office to a different room, but then I realized how much I like the way I've organized this space to meet my needs, and how this space with its lighting and the rug and the shelves for my files and my books, it's now a space that suits me and the space that I enjoy being in. And so today I'd like to tell you how to get your workspace organized so that it becomes a place that you can enjoy being in and also a space that helps you to work better. In 2021, Joseph Ferrari at DePaul University, he and his team released the results of a small study that they did to look at how remote workers think and feel about their work in relation to the amount of clutter that they have in their home workspaces. And while previous studies have found negative effects of clutter on people's perception of their home as a safe place, as well as on their relationships, on their health and their well-being, this was the first study that asked specifically what items people working from home viewed as clutter, specifically in their home offices. Dr. Ferrari and his team wondered which items respondents found to be their most frequent clutter items. The top culprit of clutter in home offices was paper, followed by trash, things like used coffee cups, and office supplies, in that order. So this study helped to confirm that clutter is a result of indecision and procrastination in taking action, which totally makes sense, right? When you delay making a decision about whether to keep or get rid of something, it becomes clutter. And if you don't do something about this clutter, you feel worse about your space, your job satisfaction, your satisfaction working from home, and so on. What does this mean then for you when organizing your home office? Well, if you work from home at least half of your work week, or if your work is fully from your home, it's important to get your paper clutter under control first and foremost. And that may feel like a big undertaking, so let's take a step back today and we'll take a step-by-step approach. First, when organizing your home office, start with what's right in front of you on your desk. You're going to sort the trash out and just toss it already. So just do that right now. Press pause, grab all the pieces of trash that are on your desk, paper coffee cups, tissues, napkins, all those things, grab them and toss them. And while you're at it, go ahead and bring a small trash can into your office area right now and place it next to your desk so that from now on, you don't have to leave your desk or leave your office to throw trash away. In the show notes, I've put a link to the actual trash can we use here in our house for office trash. Okay, then you'll put all of your papers in one area of your desk and pull all of your office supplies in another pile. And whatever other miscellaneous items you have on your desk, like little decorations, candles, whatever, into a third pile. I want you now to make some decisions. What items within each pile do not belong here in your home office? Maybe you've got, 4 candles when one would do, so you can take some of those out. Maybe you have too many framed photos sitting right on your desk and they're taking up space. That will start to feel like clutter. So take a few of those and place them elsewhere. Maybe you took some scissors from your kitchen that should go back. Are there plates, glasses, decorations, mementos that don't belong here in this room? Take all of those things and move them off your desk. Take them out of your office later and you're going to put them where they belong. Okay. If you're done with that, great. Now go ahead and sort through your office supplies. Pens and pencils should go into a drawer or into a pen cup of some kind. Staplers, push pins, paper clips, sticky notes, rubber bands. All these things are best stored off your desk. Now I know, meaning like in a drawer, right? I know there's a tendency to keep staplers and sticky notes on your desk all the time. But try this out. Put all of these things inside your desk drawer overnight. And in the morning, take out the sticky notes the first time you need to use one, and then you can keep them there the rest of the day. But when you shut down for the night, put the sticky notepad away into the drawer again. Do the same for the stapler, the pens, and all of it. See what you feel like when you walk into your home office each morning with a cleared off desk space when all of these small office supplies are put away. For most people, it's a calm feeling to have a mostly clear desktop in the morning. It's like clear desk, clear mind, right? So give that a try. Okay, so now we come to the papers. First, separate any books from the pile of papers that you've gathered. You need a separate space for books, so pick a shelf and you can stack your books there. And for right now, it doesn't matter how you stack them, as long as you can see the titles clearly and you can access the books as soon as you need them. And just as you did with the office supplies, if you've used a book for your work during the day, you're going to put that book away overnight and allow yourself to come to a clear desk in the morning. Now let's look at the actual paperwork, the pieces of paper. I would like you to separate the papers you have first into 2 piles, household and work. So separate the papers that are related to household things like bills, forms for the kids' schools, your financial statements, your medical insurance, your 401k, and you place all of those things into one pile. And everything that's related to your actual work that you are doing for your employer or for your clients or for your business, you put all of these in a second separate pile. As you're separating these papers, make some decisions, some easy decisions. If you see something that you should clearly get rid of, but you've been putting it off because it has to be shredded, shred it right now. Bring your shredder next to you and take action on it. Drop it into the shredder. Okay, so now you've got 2 piles left, household and work. So I want you to grab a stack of sticky notes and a Sharpie. Take your household pile and you're going to separate these papers into general categories. I emphasize general categories. For example, instead of having separate categories for school forms and school transcripts and school diplomas, just have one category for all the school papers. So just label it school. Another example, instead of having separate categories for your bank forms and information versus your investment information, just have one singular category called financial. Okay. Instead of separating home improvement receipts from your lawn care bills, for now, create one category called home maintenance. See what I mean? General categories. Category names that make sense to you. Okay. That's what you should use, of course. You'll write the name of that category on a sticky note with your Sharpie and stick it to the piece of paper that's on top in that category, like a flag, sticking over the edge so that when you're done categorizing all of your household papers, you can stack them all back up, but they'll still be in categories separated by that sticky note, okay? Now you're going to do the exact same thing with your work files. making sure to shred whatever needs to go right away. So looking at these two piles, household and work papers, if you see categories within those that you can clearly file away into your file cabinet, go ahead and grab that category and just do it. Put it away. Already the papers on your desk will be less. There'll be less there. And so from now on, as new papers arrive, you're going to make a decision about them first. Can they be shredded now, or do I have to keep them? And if I have to keep them, which of these categories that I've created do they go into? Or which category in my file cabinet, an even better choice, can I just drop them into right away? It's best to bypass your desk altogether for things that can be put away. Now, what I mean by that are things that are going to be stored for reference, not things that you need to take action on. Okay. And we'll get to that in just a second. What you want to do is avoid the piles on your desk from getting bigger from now on. So it's best to file away anything new coming in or just shredding it right away. And it'll be easier to do if you make these decisions and take these actions on incoming papers as soon as they reach you, because then you're dealing with fewer papers and fewer decisions. If you just add them to your pile, you're again deferring making a decision or taking an action, which is the definition of clutter, right? So the last thing to do then is to separate the paper piles that you've categorized on your desk with sticky notes one more time. We're going to do one more categorizing here. You're going to take your household pile. You're going to grab one category, one sticky note set. You're going to flip through those papers, and as you see something that requires an action from you, whether it's you have to make a phone call about it, you need to pay a bill, you need to fill out a form, you need to send an email about this, well, you're going to pull that paper out. You're going to grab another sticky note, a different color would work really well here, and label it with the same category name as before, but add the word action after it. You're going to do the same for each household category. And now you'll have a smaller pile of action papers and a separate pile of the original category papers for household. You're going to repeat this process with your work papers, possibly using, again, another different color of sticky notes, okay? So now you're going to have 4 stacks of papers, 2 of which require actions from you, and the other 2 are for reference. All of these papers are in transition right now, right? The action papers require you to do something about them in the near future, and the reference papers require you to file them away into your file cabinet. Your goal right now is to clear these from the surface of your desk. So you're going to do this by having a magazine holder or 2 on, and I have 2 magazine holders above my desk. I've put a link in the show notes to the type of magazine holder that I use that I'm talking about, so you can see what it is. One of these can be for all of your household papers, and the other will be for work. Or one magazine holder can be for all of your action papers, and the other can be for the reference papers. You decide how you want to split these up. They're still separated by your category sticky notes, right? So you can see them easily. And then you're going to set a day and time on your calendar to start to clear these. For example, maybe you review your action papers weekly on the same day each week to make sure you're taking care of things that have a deadline. And also, you're going to set aside 15 minutes each week to file away reference papers that you no longer need for any current work that you're doing. These magazine holders, they can stay on your shelf because when you've completed a project and you've filed away all of those reference papers, another project is probably going to begin, and then you can use these magazine boxes to hold the reference documents for the next project. Remember that these will become clutter if you are putting off making decisions about them though, which is why at least weekly you need to review these documents and decide if they still need to be there. If you're still using them, then they can stay in the boxes, or if they need to be shredded, or if they need to be put away into your file cabinet because that project has ended or you no longer need this on your desk and you're able to put it away. So do you see how easy that was? How simple it feels when you do things step by step. And I know that papers are difficult for people to make decisions about. What should I keep? What can I get rid of? Well, just check in with your accountant, with your financial advisor, and just find out how long should I be keeping some of these documents? Do I really need to keep these as paper, or is electronic good enough for me for what I need to access later? So that's how it's done, you guys. That is how you can clear off your desk and have a clear workspace where you can come into your office every morning and feel calm and feel ready for a day of work without being overwhelmed by the clutter on your desk. I'd like to share a conversation with you that I recently had with a small business owner. Allison McComb'e founded a Writing Concierge in 2023 after she'd had a 20-year career in public service and in administrative roles at Florida International University and at UCLA. She's a writer and she's an editor, and one of her goals in starting this business, a Writing Concierge, was to bring back the art of writing, as she puts it. She's recognized for her ability to weave words and information seamlessly. And so as the head of this company, she helps clients with strategy, with their voice, and with telling their stories in a compelling way. If you think about starting a new business today in 2024, it's both quite easy to do and also really hard to do, because it's easy to set up an LLC online and you're in business, but it's also extremely difficult to grow and stand out in the absolute crowd of small businesses out there. So I asked Allison to tell us her organizing story about how she organized herself to start and grow a successful small business in the space that she had in her home. Actually, I asked her to share any organizing successes that she had or organizing challenges, and her response to me was, well, I may talk more about how I did not organize, which made me chuckle because I believe that's how a lot of small businesses are born, without adequate organization, and it's all works out. So have a listen to our conversation. Allison, welcome to Order Meets Style.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited, Zina. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so happy you're here, and congratulations. It's 1 year in business now?
A year and a couple months. Yeah.
Ooh, how does that feel?
It's a little surreal. This is exciting. This is my first announcement here. I just got my trademark approved. So no one else can take my wonderful name, which I think is
a Writing Concierge. Yes. That's fantastic.
So feels surreal, but great.
Oh, that's wonderful. And well, looking back, what was the biggest organizing challenge for you during your first few months in business? Was it related to business creation, to legally establishing your business and getting maybe your financial foundations in order? Or was it more about getting your first clients under your belt? Or was it marketing? Where was the biggest organizing challenge?
So I think we're all somewhat similar in that we like to do the things we're really good at. So I focused on the things I was really good at, which I can do business, I can do marketing, and I can do relationships. So maybe taking all of those trains out of the station, I thought, oh, everything else will fall into place. And in reality, what I neglected to pay more or the most attention to was the financial side. So I will say I thought that the process of starting a business was pretty easy. Everyone told me, you just need an LLC, just go online, go to the state of Florida. Well, I have to say, I went the whole route of LegalZoom. That helped me to not have to know the legal part necessarily. I've learned more over time because I've been good about keeping up with my documents, and that's a way to do that. The piece where, and I may have shared this with you or exactly this in email, is financially, I just thought, oh, I have some money in the bank. I'm going to go start this business. Well, from the day I even established the business banking account, I thought, well, now what happens here?
Oh, no.
I knew inherently it was different than having my own bank account, but I sort of didn't do the things I should have done. A good example is, I just got my taxes in, and thank you to everyone who was a part of that. The bookkeeping part is something I took for granted, as well as literally just the basic financials. So I leaned a little bit too much into the things that I was already good at, and I tried to coast on the others. But I really think the financial piece, don't take for granted that just having money or resources in some way is going to be helpful. Really get it mapped out. And I would say I did have a short business plan because I like to write things, and I thought I knocked it all out. I did not. I did not account for another example is all the subscriptions I would need. There's so many things that I didn't realize that, and it's not just, I shifted let's say my McAfee subscription because it's now no, that was easy. This is, oh, wait a second. I have a formatter and I have I'm doing whatever for my marketing and just, what are all these things?
Ooh, okay. I'd like to come back to that, to subscriptions, in just a second. But first, let me ask you, where did your first group of clients come from? Were they from previous business connections or from new networking?
So it's interesting. I would say that lives in sort of two places in my mind. One is naturally where you and I met, which is in BNI, a Business Network
Mm-hmm.
International. So, and this is where it kind of bifurcates. I started the business, I created a flyer, I had some language that I
Mm-hmm.
will tell you now, looking back on it, I cringe because I don't like what what I put out, but I
Oh, ditto,
I had a
ditto.
summary that I thought was, oh, this is interesting. So what I did was reach out on LinkedIn to a lot of colleagues who I'd worked with and other entrepreneurs or people who would become entrepreneurs that I knew to say, hey, I've joined you in this space. I would love for you to consider me, share this information. And although that return has been a little bit slower, it has been as productive as the networking group because the people who have come either more immediately or over time back to me to say, we kept your information on file. We've been watching you, along the months, and now we really need, let's say, copy for their website, or they are looking at all their marketing collateral. They don't have a person in house. Can you come and proof all of this? So it's kind of an interesting thing to watch, right? So both of those have been great.
Okay, yeah. So this is what I wanted to go back to, the subscriptions. And to you listening right now, whether you're a business owner or not, subscriptions are often something that many people don't plan for or they don't track sufficiently. And also tracking contacts or leads or clients. And one of the things that will help is what I call the simple single, which applies to both organizing your home and your digital spaces. In order to really get organized, I think we should have a simple single spot, one spot to store all of your similar items, right? And this makes it immediately easier to always be able to find what you're looking for in a snap. So, for example, in your home, have one simple single spot to store all of your scissors, let's say. So, anytime someone needs scissors in a hurry, you'll always know where they are, that one spot. Same for digital items like personal or business subscriptions. Have one space on your laptop or on your phone where you can plan for and track all your subscriptions so you can see what you already are subscribed to and what might be missing from your technology suite, so to speak, especially when you're starting fresh in an area. And the same for tracking your leads, your clients, your contacts. So do you have something like that in place, Allison? What does that look like for you?
So this is extremely advanced technology. I used an Excel spreadsheet and
So funny.
I have a spreadsheet that says either BNI or non-BNI. And then I also put a column that says if it's not, then actually, even if it's BNI, I say who referred, right? And if it's not, then I say, if it's usually LinkedIn. Sometimes it's an outside source. But I have two spreadsheets that I use. One is more project management, really in a project management platform. The other is here's the context. And now what I've done is year to year. So I have a 2023 tab, a 2024, and it is basic in the sense of how I'm doing it, but it's easy. And that is my one place that you said.
Hmm.
That's where I go.
Yeah, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely appreciate that we're using the tools that we already have, that we already know how to use. There's no learning curve there with using an Excel spreadsheet. So beautiful. So, are there any other areas of your workspace or your business space that you would have organized differently looking back?
I would say I could have just done it and I didn't. I should have organized my physical space better. It took me a few months. I was kind of perched at a desk in another part of the house before I really made a home office. Once I moved the operation to, we have a sunroom. So the sunroom is now my home office. It's been much more comfortable. I can do everything here. For whatever reason, the acoustics are better. Everything just seemed to be better as far as how I can work, and I can be much more focused here as opposed to where the desk I was kind of hunkering over. Um, it matters. I don't need to tell you, it matters to have the space.
I think it's magic when you
Yeah.
find that one space to work in. It can be a corner of a living room, it can be a
Yeah.
sunroom, it can be a pantry like mine. When you find that one space that's not only comfortable, but that feels like, hey, I can be
Yeah.
professional here. I can envision how organized I can be here without, like you said, hunching over. I have a problem with slouching. That's a huge deal. That's a big win. It'll make your entire day run
Hmm.
more efficiently when you have space like this. This space that you can see that is clear, organized, there's not
Hmm.
extra stuff there. It's what you need to work with at the moment, and you don't get distracted or pulled off course by the stuff that you're seeing all around you.
I would say that if you saw my room now, you'd be traumatized. It is
I
not in
know. No, no, no.
in the order it should be, but it is mission control still for me. There's many times you should know this that I think, wow, if Z comes here, because there is a day I will say, Z, I need you, right?
Anytime.
But I think to myself, Z would be so disappointed.
Oh goodness, no, don't say
I,
it.
I need to get it together. So you're kind of like the Jiminy Cricket. You're in my ear.
Perched on your
Um,
shoulder.
you're there. Yeah.
Okay, well, hindsight is 2020, as we know. So, have you had any big misses that you can think of because you were disorganized somewhere? Something maybe you could have avoided?
Good question. I think what I realized later, and I now do, is it helps to have something like more standard intake
Oh,
forms.
of course, yeah.
So as opposed to an email, communication that goes back 4 or 5 times, which I would have immediately not done that in my previous jobs. I would have already known better. But it took me, I don't know why, it just kicked in a little bit later. I now have some standard intake forms that help my work. So I would say that's one thing that I don't know why I didn't do it from the onset. It just sort of was a light bulb that came on a couple months into it, but now I have it
Hmm.
for a lot of the standard things. I have it for resumes, bios, even for website copy, for example.
Right.
And sometimes people come to me, especially marketers or different businesses, and they already have their template, and that's fine as long as if they have something that can help me walk through exactly what they need, great. But oftentimes people just don't know what they truly want. They just know they want something better than they currently have. And so getting that from them really takes a lot better shape with a template that helps them, conceptualize what it is that they're trying to do or accomplish.
Right, right. Got it. Well, Allison, you've come a very long way in a short year, it feels like. So, congratulations again on a full year plus in business. And can you let us know where we can find you online?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So it's a Writing Concierge LLC. You can find us of the same name on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, which was Twitter, and Instagram as well. I do have a TikTok that I've started. I haven't gotten there yet, but there is also a Writing Concierge on TikTok. I'm very active between LinkedIn and Instagram. So those are probably the best formats. And the website is a writingconcierge.com. And I look forward to, any outreach or any questions anyone may have. I just, again, I thrive on the relationship side. So it's great to always meet new people and, potential connections down the road.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Allison, and thank you for sharing your organizing story with us. And we'll
Well,
be
same.
watching you. We'll be tracking right along
Yes,
with
I
you.
appreciate that. And same. Yeah, the presence is there, even if we can be each other's Jiminy Crickets.
Oh, yes. Yes, we
Yes.
can. Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
I love hearing that a new small business is doing well, don't you? Allison originally had her workspace in another part of her home, but it wasn't working out for her. And while she feels that her current setup is not as organized and clutter free as she would like, she says she absolutely prefers this new location because it feels better to work in her sunroom. Just like I feel better working in my pantry/office, even with the loud fridge and freezer. So take an objective look at your home workspace this week. Does it feel good to work in there? And is it time to declutter your desk to clear it off? Then go ahead and follow the steps I laid out in this episode and let's get it done. And remember that if you need help and support to do this, why don't you set up a 15-minute home clutter audit call with me? I'll help you set you up for easier decluttering and organizing so that you don't waste any more time at all. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you enjoy your day, and I'll meet you here again next week.